Want to have your clip featured in the Skyrim Clip of the Week? Simply record the clip on your Xbox and then send it to me via message. My gamertag is iRyeni, that's IRYENI, and then you can message it to me over Xbox and I'll be able to view it. I look forward to seeing the clips that you guys send me. Now moving on to the video. Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of Modded Monday. We're on week number 253 now, guys. I've picked out 5 new mods for you guys to check out, and perhaps add them to your load order if you find them interesting. But like always, before we jump into them, I want to remind you guys that I'm partnered with GamerSupps, which in my opinion is the best energy drink on the market. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, be sure to check out the link in the description where you can go to their store page, and you can also use the code RTD for a 10% discount on all your purchases. I also want to say, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any brand new mods each and every single week. Now that all that's out of the way, we can jump into this week's mods. And starting us off, we have a simple weapon mod called the SAO Armaments mod. Now, I actually had to look up what SAO meant because I'm not really familiar with that acronym there, but it means Sword Art Online, so if you're a fan of the series, then this would definitely be a mod for you. Now, the mod page reads that you can craft these weapons from Sword Art Online using dragon materials. They can also be tempered with 1 dragon bone, and they have stats comparable to original dragon bone swords, and all of these swords use the vanilla brown leather sheath. And the current swords that we have in this mod, we have the Elucidator, the Excalibur, the Lambent Light, the Blue Rose, the Night Sky Sword, and even the Fragment Olive. And I hope I pronounced those correctly because although I'm not familiar with Sword Art Online, I did do some research on what these swords actually look like in the show, and they did a great job of implementing them into the game. You know, they actually look like what they do on the show, and although it may not fit into Skyrim in a perfect way, it may not be lore friendly at all, I really like having new weapons brought to the game. I really like to see what people can come up with, and especially when people are fans of other series and they bring them into a different game and give them a new light to shine upon, I really like to see that in the modding community here. And it isn't just 1 sword that they brought on from the show, they ended up bringing 6, which is why it comes at such a high memory space, coming in at 69.30 megabytes, but I think this is a great mod if you're a fan of Sword Art Online and you want to see the swords implemented into Skyrim. This is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out, and that's definitely why the SAO Armaments mod is featured here at a number 5 spot, so if you like these swords, I'd recommend downloading this mod and giving it a try for yourself. Coming in at our number 4 spot, we have a brand new, huge, and beautiful player home called Morrison Manor, a home for Skyrim. The mod page reads that you can explore a new lavish state of luxury located near Castle Volokar, newly entrusted to the Dragonborn. This home is inspired by the Winchester Mystery House, and this castle holds many secrets to be discovered, and many more to come in the future. It serves as a full, lore-friendly functioning player home and has everything a Dragonborn needs, and with this being a large player home retreat, you can actually get to it by heading west of Icewater Jetty along the northern coast of Skyrim. Morrison Manor is a major, luxury, constantly expanding player home that just gets better the deeper you dive into it. And the Dragonborn has already been entrusted with this estate, and it's already unlocked and ready for them, so you can just head right there right from the get-go. There aren't any quests associated with this player home, it just says to explore and have fun, and this manor has everything that you're going to need in a regular player home and even more. Some of my favorite things is the courtyard that you can go outside and explore. You have this big open area in the middle that even includes a friendly dragon that just stays there and will guard the area for you. And then you also have a large teleportation room that has a bunch of gates placed where all of the major towns can be teleported in Skyrim from. That means that you can walk into this big room of doors, and there's a bunch of flags up on the wall where you can travel to any major hold in Skyrim, whether it be Whiterun, Riften, Solitude, Markarth, you name it, and even it covers the smaller towns as well, so you can travel to Rorikstead, Shorestone, and even Ivarstead. You can really travel to anywhere with this mod in the Hall of Doors. But other than the courtyard and Hall of Doors, you also have a fancy bedroom, an enchanting and magic tower, a main hall, a crafting tower, and even the blood crypts that'll come in a future update, and even a dock area with your own ship as well. And you can see this as I'm showing you around the player home and giving you a bit of a tour of it, but I will say that if you download this mod for yourself, you will notice that there are a couple doors that you'll walk up to and you can't go through them quite yet. It's because this mod is still in development, but they just wanted to show you what they had so far, and they plan on updating this mod, so I'm very anxious to see what this manor will become because it's already amazing and has everything that you'll need, so what more could you possibly add to this player home? I'm really excited to see the future of this mod, and as it gets more updates, I'll be sure to let you guys know, because I'm really excited because this mod is absolutely amazing. You know, it comes in at 1.12 megabytes and adds a huge manor that you can completely explore and that you own, and I know that I'm normally not a fan of the bigger player homes where you have to walk a bunch of different areas, and, you know, if you want to go craft stuff, you have to go into this separate room, if you want to go to bed, you have to go this way, but I really like the artwork that people put into these mods, and the way that they make this manor all come together, I absolutely love it. I've never actually seen too many house mods include a freaking courtyard inside of it, which absolutely blew me away, and especially the friendly dragon, like I said, was a perfect addition to add to the courtyard there. With it being so small in memory space, I'm very impressed with how they were able to cram all this content into one small mod here. So if you're looking for a brand new player home and you want to think big this time and go with a big new manor, then the Morrison Manor, a home for Skyrim, is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out, so go download it and become its proud new owner for yourself. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have a mod that'll never make you want to explore Skyrim by yourself again. This is the Wandering Skyrim Followers mod, and the mod page reads that you can now travel Skyrim with 18 new followers. All of these followers are protected, level with the player, and have the Lightfoot and Sneak 40 or better perks. Most followers have KS hairs and will also use your skin and body mods, as well as the other mods that you have on top of it, whether they be different types of follower mods. Like for me, I have the Underwhelming Multiple Followers mod, which allows me to have 3 at one time, but it should also be compatible with any other type of follower mod that you may have, because these followers aren't really, you know, bound in the lore in any way. You know, they have a small little backstory, but they don't have, you know, any custom dialogue. They're more so just henchmen to be at your side at all times. And some of the followers that you can meet in your travels with this mod installed. First off, we have Elron, which is a Breton male cursed by Periite, and he uses his cursed breath to damage and poison foes. He can be found worshipping at a shrine of Periite, and then you can also find Argit, which is an Imperial male that uses crossbows, daggers, sneak, and swagger, and he can be found in Riverwood. After that, you have Atir, who is a Khajiit male serving the Empire at the Pale Imperial camp, and he uses dual-wield sword attacks and heavy armor. You have Castius as well, who's an Imperial male tank training in Solitude, and he uses a sword, shield, heavy armor, and can even heal himself too. So even so far that I've only read a couple of these followers, there's a big vast range and no one will ever feel the same when you run into them. But continuing on, we have Garen, who's a male dark elf searching for a fugitive from Morrowind around the Riverside Shack. He's one of my favorite companions in this entire mod here because of just how badass he is, and he uses one-handed weapons and destruction magic, which is extremely deadly. You then also have the Lost Soul, which is an ancient Blade Warrior follower who's a ghost still patrolling the entrance to Skyhaven Temple, so now you can have a ghost follower. You also have Grummick, which is a giant orc that wields two-handed weapons, and he has his own small camp east of Solitude on the banks of the Morthal Swamp. You can also meet Hadir, which is a mighty Redguard swordsman that travels between Riften and Markarth, Herger, who's a true son of Skyrim, trained by Ulfric in the ways of his voice, and he patrols with the guards inside of Windhelm. You can even find Loriel, who's a female Bosmer, camping west of Riften, and uses bows, light armor, and sneak. Sophia, which is a female Redguard and Dark Brotherhood member, uses dual daggers, and guards the abandoned shack in the swamps of Morthal. Now, I'm not going to name every single follower inside of this mod, but there are many, many more. I'll do one more here, Stalk Silently, who is also a very deadly destruction mage, as well as alteration and sneak user. It's a male Argonian thief hiding in Rorikstead. And like I said, that they don't really have that much of a backstory, more so just where you meet them, that's just where they are at the time. They're just, you know, doing their own thing and they don't really have too much of a backstory, but that's just the great thing about it. You know, they're so different from one another and they'll make it so you won't travel Skyrim alone anymore and you'll always have brothers having your back in Skyrim. So if you're just looking to get a little group together and take on Skyrim for all it's worth, then the Wandering Skyrim Followers mod is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out. And if you want to have 3 at one time, like I did in this video here, you can also check out the Underwhelming Multiple Followers mod, which, like I said, allows you to have 3 followers at one time. That's also a very great mod that I have in every single one of my load orders and pretty much can't live without. So you could just have a big group of followers at your disposal and just following you around and exploring Skyrim at all times. And that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our number 3 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Wandering Skyrim Followers mod. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have a brand new dungeon that's incredible to explore and really breaks the boundaries for what I thought was possible with mods in Skyrim. This is the TrainFight By Trainwiz mod. And the mod page reads, have you ever fought atop, through, and inside the belly of a fully animated, fully detailed steam locomotive? Well, I can tell you one thing, I haven't. It's been 10 years since Skyrim emerged from Todd's starry womb, and to celebrate, they're going back to the basics of all things. And by basics, they mean fully animated steam locomotives to carve a path of carnage through. Best of all of these trains are free to be reused in whatever sick and twisted fantasies you may have, like a house mod or a murder mystery mod. You know how it is. So by the way, that's also very cool of the mod creator to actually make it so their assets can be reused. That's awesome, so that other people can create their own mods with it. But this features a cool new cinematic dungeon themed around trains, of course, because it's a train line taken over by bandits, so of course it's train themed. It features so many trains and they're animated as well, so I'm extremely impressed with what this mod brings into Skyrim. And of course it may be silly, like, yeah, the Dwemer didn't have any trains or anything like that. Of course their technology was advanced, but they didn't have trains in Skyrim. But this is just something cool to add into Skyrim, to do a nice little cool cinematic dungeon that really does a very good job of doing this. You know, whenever you're inside the train, you can look out the window if you're fighting all the bandits on the inside. If you happen to take a peek outside, you'll see that you are actually moving. It's not like, you know, an optical illusion or anything like that. It's very well put together and makes it believe that you're on a moving train. And then you go outside and you see a bunch of bandits shooting at you from the top of 2 different trains on the left and right, and it's just incredibly badass, and it's a blast to play through. I had to actually reload the save several times because of just how awesome this was, and it just completely blew my mind that they were able to pull something off like this. I've never seen anything like this in Skyrim, so this is definitely a first for me, and it absolutely blew me away my first time through this. So if you're looking for a new dungeon to dive into, no matter what level you are, you can travel here at any level. I did this even at level 1, although it would be very difficult if I didn't have infinite health and wasn't just doing a showcase here. You can travel here at any time, there's no cap, and it'll just be with the leveled enemies of, you know, whatever mods you're using. And I even put this in my 150 modded load order, and it worked perfectly. There wasn't any crashes at all, or any stutters or nothing, so it fits with pretty much any mod that you could possibly think of. So that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our number 2 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the TrainFight By Trainwiz mod and experiencing the cinematic dungeon for yourself. Coming in at the number 1 spot this week, we have the most impressive tree overhaul that I've seen in an extremely long time. This is Blubbo's Tree Replacers All-in-One mod, and it just includes every single mod that Blubbo has made, whether they be, you know, the Pine Tree Replacer, the Tree Replacer for the Reach, the Aspen Replacer, you name it. Every single mod has been jammed into one mod here, and it comes in at 168.38 megabytes, which is fairly small for how much it adds, because these trees are absolutely massive, and they look incredibly different from one another depending on what part of Skyrim you're in. You know, you have a bunch of tree mods out there that kind of just add the same kind of tree, and although the tree looks very good, sometimes it doesn't make sense to have the same tree over in the Riften area as well as Riverwood, and then down in Falkreath, and then up by Winterhold. You want to have different trees in every location, and that's exactly what this mod does here. This includes 2K and 1K trees as well as 1K tree LODs, and it's also recommended to use the Animation Control ESP, which is another mod that I'll leave in the description if you want to also download Blubbo's Tree Replacers All-in-One here, because without it, it looks like a tornado's coming through and the wind kind of gets messed up with the trees, but you don't actually need it for it to work, but it's just recommended. Now, as you can see, this mod makes Skyrim's trees absolutely beautiful. I mean, they were beautiful before, but now they're even better looking, and like I said, said, with the different areas that you can explore, they're all different types of trees, and you'll always be seeing new types of tree layouts and the way that the sun comes through. It's just, there's so much about this mod that I love, and there's no stutters at all. You can have this on your huge load orders that you have as well, because I also ran this on my 150 load order, and it worked perfectly. There wasn't any compatibilities or any stutters at all either, which I was actually very surprised by, because there's a lot of different overhauls, whether they be flora, grass mods, or tree overhauls, that there will be some areas that you go to, mainly Falkreath, that just start to stutter if there's too much going on at once. But this mod didn't have any of that. I didn't have any trouble or any stutters or anything like that, and it really impressed me with how much they were able to bring into Skyrim and how they were able to amplify the trees in such a way to make them look this great. So that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our #1 spot this week. So if you also like the looks of these new trees, then I'd strongly recommend downloading the Blubbo's Tree Replacers All-in-One mod and adding it to your load order as well. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of the top 5 Skyrim mods of the week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe if you're new. It really helps me out a lot. And if you have any suggestions for mods you'd like me to cover in future top 5 mod episodes, be sure to let me know in the comment section below, or you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to leave my Twitter in the description, and you guys can follow me on there and leave me suggestions there as well. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys have done for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later.